Straddling the magnificent Rocky Mountains, Colorado, the 8th largest state in the USA, lies deep in the heart of America's West. This once-upon-a-time frontier state is best known for its vast skiing terrain. Names like Aspen, Vail, Steamboat Springs and Breckenridge are part of the everyday vocabulary for skiing fanatics. Boasting 1,000 peaks over 2 miles high and some 53 over 14,000 feet, the Rocky Mountain state has 6 times the mountain regions of Switzerland. The facilities at many of the Rocky Mountain ski resorts put European resorts to shame. The speed with which skiers get to the top, the tree-line skiing, not to mention the legendary champagne powder, ensure that Colorado remains the discerning skier's favorite. Colorado's distinctive seasons ensure popularity with visitors from everywhere in the world, with excellent year-round temperatures which in daytime rarely fall below 40 degrees Fahrenheit in winter or rise above 90 degrees in summer. Colorado is a destination for all seasons. Unspoiled natural beauty is a feast for the senses. Incidentally, the fine for picking any wild flower in Colorado could be $300. Keep an eye out for the columbine, Colorado's state flower. The flight to Denver, the capital, is served by only one non-stop flight on Continental Airlines from the UK. It takes around 10 hours from Gatwick. Other carriers get their customers here via a stop on the East Coast or elsewhere in the US. Stapleton International Airport, due to become the world's largest by 1993, is the gateway for European visitors. Unless you're taking a local flight, driving to your eventual resort will require another 2 to 4 hours of endurance, so we recommend that you spend a night in Denver before venturing out to conquer this magnificent terrain. Good news, no more US visas are required for most European community nationals, certainly none for British visitors, but check for the small print. Regulations do require observing certain rules. Your travel agents should be able to advise. Fly drive holidays to the USA represent superb value for European visitors, particularly if pre-booked through tour operators or rental companies, and petrol prices are about half that of European rates. Denver's history started with the gold rush of 1859 and became a boom town where saloons, gambling halls and wagon trains lined the mud-filled streets. At one time, every outdoor and desperado in the West came here. Retrace their steps in your hired car or van and explore all of Colorado for the most spectacular experience in the West yet. One stop on the tourist trail is the Matchless Mines near Leadville. One of Colorado's earliest and most famous pioneers, Horace Tabor, made a fortune in silver here, but following the silver crash of 1893, he died penniless in 1899.
That made him very slippery, and it's also very dark in the morning. On this other side over here is an ore well.
On a guided tour, you'll hear that he told his wife that when he died, she mustn't sell up as he believed there was still silver here, which would one day make her rich again. Unfortunately for her, she took his advice and lived in poverty and was found frozen to death in her home in 1935 in Leadville town. Today's visitors will find Colorado no less exciting, but a lot safer than in those bygone days of 100 or so years ago. That pioneering spirit, like prospecting for gold and other riches and carving out ranches from the wilderness, is still apparent today. Colorado is for those who enjoy taking a deep breath of nature, so to speak, for the free-spirited and the adventure seekers. And what better way of taking it all in than making one of those up and away trips in a hot air balloon. Regular sorties are made throughout the year. One of the most popular places for ballooning is here at Steamboat Springs. For information on costs and itineraries, it's best to contact a local travel agent or the Colorado Tourism Board in Denver.
We've got a lot of wide open spaces in this part of the country, and when you go flying back in the eastern part of the country, it gets real congested real fast. So that's one of the advantages, and we also have some excellent weather for flying an awful lot of the time.
This vast state with breathtaking skyline, hidden lakes high up in the mountains, fast-flowing rivers and rapids, and 300 days a year clear blue skies is the outdoor adventurer's paradise. There's no better opportunity to sample the pioneer days than by spending a few days at an authentic ranch. You'll get the opportunity to learn the Western riding style, which is quite different from that taught in Europe. Guest accommodation is in cozy log cabins nestling among tall trees, and the atmosphere is guaranteed to be homely. It's an absolute must for families with active children and those who enjoy meeting others. Home cooking is usually finger-licking good, as they say over here, and who's to argue?
Yeah, that's right. You know, it was really a hard decision tonight because I thought, yeah, I like to read from
You know, I'm sure
The real pioneers of the Rocky Mountains were trappers, traders, and fur hunters like Kit Carson and Louis Vasquez. When the price of beaver furs dropped in the 1830s, these mountain men turned to the buffalo trade. Bent's Fort in the plains southeast of Denver and others like it was established for safe and effective trading with the Indians. Today it's a national historic site, and many of the olden day practices like the preparation of buffalo skins are recreated daily, making the visit feel truly authentic. The fort's construction was of adobe, chosen for its resistance to attacks from the Indians shooting burning arrows. Bent's Fort was the most important post of its type, but it was abandoned after a sharp decline in business in 1849 and eventually collapsed and disintegrated, What you see here is a remarkably authentic reconstruction by the National Park Service. The forge still produces useful tradable items for the fort's active store, where visitors can buy unusual souvenir items. Provisions and supplies too were traded here, and the Bent brothers who created this fort couldn't have imagined its enduring qualities then. The country needs to be explored. Staying in one place is decidedly a wasted opportunity, having come this far. Old habits die hard, and though the saloon bars no longer welcome too many wild cowboys these days, they are nonetheless just as colourful and noisy as in the early days. A beer or two here certainly will feel good. Talking about noise, many of the sounds here are not only authentic but rare too. Not too many choo-choo trains roam around on 150-year-old tracks, but they do around here, blending perfectly into the general atmosphere of the Old West. The Silverton and Durango Narrow Gauge Railway has been in operation since 1822, when it was built to carry gold ore. Today it takes tourists on a 90-mile round trip through some of the most spectacular mountains in Colorado. Apart from the railway, both Silverton and Durango have much to offer with gift shops, museums, restaurants, and many outdoor activities in the San Juan range of mountains. Listen carefully, and the distant beat of Indian drums becomes more and more audible. The ride through these canyons will take you deep into the highlands and to Indian communities still living and working here. The tribes in this area, the southwest corner of the state, are most likely to be Utes, who along with the Cheyenne and Arapaho were the most important in the history of Colorado. Many other tribes like the Apache, Navajo, and Shoshone would also have been encountered by the expanding settlers. The Utes vigorously defended their ancestral homelands, fighting the white settlers regularly, culminating with the last major battle in September 1879, known as the Meeker Massacre, led by Chief Ouray. Ouray was to become invaluable as a peacemaker between the Utes and the whites. He spoke both English and Spanish, and went to Washington several times to negotiate on behalf of his people. The first settlers were not Indians at all, but the Anasazi, or Ancient Ones, who were the first documented inhabitants of an area known as Mesa Verde, or Green Table. These tribes had occupied and developed parts of today's Colorado from the time of Christ to about 1300 AD, during which time they built villages and made their living as farmers. They also left behind rich relics of woven cotton articles, pottery, and superb communal buildings which are recommended for a visit. You'll even get conducted tours from archaeologists.
We'll never know if we don't do it. I like Anasazi archaeology because we have the context that allows me to talk about not only a group of people, but a generation, a family, and sometimes I think even an individual. And that's real exciting to me. I've done a lot of archaeology in other places where we're talking plus or minus 10,000 years, you know, for this level. Okay, here I'm talking plus or minus 10 years in this particular structure where we're working here. And I think it's going to be possible to even identify individual artists. We may not give them a name, but we'll say this is artist A early in their career, this is artist A later on when they were getting older. We've got that sort of context situation here. They lived here for thousands of years. People often forget that the Anasazi were in this area for a long, long time. The remains that they left behind are only those from a short period because it was only in the end of that period of time that they learned how to build stone buildings and live in them. So those remains that we actually see just go back to about, we'll say, from 500 AD on, maybe a little bit earlier. But all over the southwest, by 1300, the Anasazi were gone. They had built these wonderful buildings, they had lived in them, and they left them. And they never came back.
Discoveries continue to be made here. It's fascinating and unexpected for most tourists. Allow a long day or two for visiting here in this southwestern corner of Colorado. The oldest town in Colorado is St. Louis, dating back to 1851, and there are many other Spanish-named settlements and towns here, particularly in the southern regions. The Spanish came, but they didn't stay. They didn't find the gold. That's why they didn't stay. But gold there is plenty of, and silver too. Even today, nuggets are found by persevering diggers. Abandoned hamlets that grew up during the gold rush days of the late 1800s are still here, like this one at Independence Pass near Aspen. The finds today, too, are not uncommon. Visiting an old mine could be rewarding.
Okay, now this is helpful about this. This is ruby silver. There's no gold. Along in here. See that?
Be aware of the fact that there are many inactive but not abandoned gold and silver mines in Colorado. They do usually belong to someone and can be highly dangerous to enter. Please don't be tempted to explore on your own. The best areas for the summer tourist are in the mountains, where the intense blue skies seem to be painted in between the peaks of the dramatic Rockies. Camping out with all your mod cons in one of the luxury campers is the form here. This is a good opportunity to meet other campers too. Americans are easygoing and very approachable.
Strategy all mapped out for the big one, huh? Kind of staggers me sometimes too.
To locate the various campgrounds dotted around the state, contact the Colorado Campground Association in Boulder. They will provide detailed information about location, facilities, and maps too. Beware of the rarefied atmosphere though. At heights of over 5,000 and 6,000 feet, children and the elderly may get tired and out of breath quickly. We suggest parking your camper or tent at lower levels for the night. You'll always find a general store at hand should you run short of food or drink. But don't expect large supermarkets in these remoter parts of Colorado. Starting out from Denver, it's natural to go either west on I-70, Interstate Highway 70, climbing up to famous names like Georgetown, Leadville, and even Steamboat Springs, or south towards Colorado Springs and Pueblo. Driving around in these parts should be unhurried, giving yourself plenty of opportunity to take in the views of the mountain peaks. Do pay attention, though, to winding dirt roads. There are plenty of them around here. This one, the Pikes Peak Toll Road near Colorado Springs, leads you 14,110 feet up to the summit. Always travel with a full tank of fuel, and it's prudent to take a gallon or two in a can also, just in case the next petrol station is just that little bit too far. You'll never be short of things to do either. A game of golf or just the atmosphere of modern-day civilization is not too far away. First-class hotels are dotted around, and though some are somewhat old-fashioned looking, it might be a good idea to spend a night or two in one of them just to vary the pace of your Colorado holiday, or just to make a change from camping. The Broadmoor Hotel in Colorado Springs is a first-class hotel surrounded by lakes and trees, and is an excellent base for the area's many attractions, like the U.S. Air Force Academy, the Garden of the Gods, and the Seven Falls, known as the grandest mile of scenery in Colorado. There are also 3 golf courses, a year-round ice rink, and even an authentic English pub within the Broadmoor complex. Denver itself, the state capital, lies just 12 miles east of the Rocky Mountain foothills on the edge of the Great Plains, and is generally known as one of the youngest cities of the USA. It is at the crossroads of the state, and sooner or later the big city will appear and a few days' stay may be in order, and indeed a welcome change from your pioneering adventures out in the wild. The city is exactly 1 mile above sea level and is the financial, commercial, and cultural center of this western state. The Americans invented the shopping mall concept, and there are plenty of these malls around. One of the best-known ones is the Tabor Center, where the selection of shops within the complex is far beyond the needs of visitors. Prices in the USA are generally lower than in Europe, and particularly good value items include clothing, footwear, and sporting goods. Needless to say that credit cards are welcomed by everyone here, even though the state is the home of the US Mint, which must have a connection with the vast amount of gold mined in Colorado in the past. Today, the 5 billion coins coming off the production lines yearly may be less risky to produce than the gold in mountain mines, but a visit here will still be fascinating. Entry is free, but don't expect free samples. The city is a showcase for American architecture, old and new, where the buildings vie for the best positions on the skyline. A visit to the state capitol building allows a panoramic view from the top. Admission here is free also. Take a close look at the dome. The outside is covered with 250 ounces of 24-karat gold, a reminder that this state made the gold rush days of the 1800s famous. Even today, gold panning is common. The methods are the same as they were 100 years or so ago. The results, too, can be rewarding or frustrating. Day out in the wild among fast-flowing streams, panning for those nuggets, is certainly fun, and a great deal different to pastimes pursued on the European beach resorts.
That's what they all tell you. Gold is where you find it. And like someone said, well, it's all been found. There's been more gold go to the grave with the prospectors than there's ever been discovered. They ain't gonna tell nobody where it's at. You think you would if you was out in them hills for 6 and 8 months? You have to make the water come in and take the material out. Now people, they cannot make that water come in and take that material out like that, right there. So what they do, they start shaking it out like that. Well, what happens, the gold goes right on out underneath, and then they don't even know that they even had it. Don't never give up, that's the main thing. Don't never give up, because you're liable to run into it most.
One of the many fun activities for families who enjoy the great outdoors is mountain biking. Nearly 500 miles of trails cover Colorado from end to end, spanning some of the most spectacular parts of the mountains. The climate is ideal during the summer months. Rental of bikes is easily organized, and itineraries and route guides are available from a variety of sources. Try the Colorado Mountain Bike Trail Association at Grand Junction for rental details and maps. You'll find places to buy drinks and snacks along the way, and it's a great way to meet others and to keep fit at the same time. An unusual phenomenon worth including in your trip is a hot spring where bathing, even during the cooler months, is pleasurable. Famous names like Steamboat Springs and Glenwood Springs have natural hot springs where water temperatures reach between 90 degrees Fahrenheit and 104 degrees. This one, at the Hot Springs Lodge, is one of the largest in the world, over 2 blocks long. Colorado's climate is among the best in inland USA, with very low humidity all the year round. Summer temperatures are between 80 and 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Very agreeable. The dry air makes this ideal for all. In the autumn, or fall as it's called here, and winter, temperatures do drop rapidly below freezing in the crisp, cold night air. Incidentally, the fall has a habit of extending well into November, sometimes even December. Nature and the wild excel more here in Colorado than at most other holiday destinations around our globe. The autumn colors of the vast open terrain with its rugged beauty is an overpowering experience. A great way to ascend fast to the mile-high mountain tops is on a chairlift. Many of these operate throughout the year. Of course, Colorado is world famous for its winters. The legendary champagne powder snow has made these slopes very popular with the skiing fraternity everywhere.
Colorado's got the best skiing in the world. Everybody thinks that the Swiss Alps have got the most spectacular scenery, or the French ski resorts have got the most sophisticated lifts and the most fun après skiing and so forth. But I think for the overall combination that the best skiing in the world is in Colorado. We've got outstanding weather, lots of sunshine, great powder snow, and very sophisticated design ski areas where no matter what level you are, you have excellent snow conditions. If you're a beginner, you don't have bumps and steep, unexpected trails to contend with. People have a lot of fun here and come from all over the world to ski in Colorado.
But that's another story. Looking at the vast skiing opportunities merits looking at separately. Alpine look-alike villages like Vail are famous haunts for Europeans and American visitors, and in some cases seem to be better than their European counterparts.
It was meant to look like Kitzbühel, which is a very famous Austrian ski resort. It came out to be a lot nicer than Kitzbühel, actually. And, but the whole setup is like this, with a pedestrian zone, and then no traffic. It's just really very well done. I love it, because it has everything that I'm used to from Europe, and it has much nicer weather.
Accommodation ranges from simple guest houses providing bed and breakfast for a few dollars per night to sophisticated deluxe hotels costing well in excess of $200 per night in high season. Best tip is to pre-book longer stays with tour operators, particularly during busy times such as US public holidays. Off-peak tariffs, and that generally means out of the skiing season, are often less than half the peak period tariffs, but that doesn't mean to say they're not popular. Vail has become a mecca for summertime recreation. There are many cultural activities with plays, film festivals, and dozens of art galleries and musical performances to make up for the lack of après-ski activities. You'll also find that the opportunities for outdoor pursuits are boundless. The popularity of golf in the USA is evident here in these high-altitude courses too. Some of the exclusive clubs, like this one at Vail, attract famous names, even ex-presidents who play in front of impromptu audiences largely made up of tourists. Playing a game or two is likely to cost you between $70 and $90 a round, somewhat more expensive than back home, though that may include an electric buggy.
Well, we started coming here to Vail 1969, so we came here 4 or 5 years before we went to the White House. We fell in love with Vail when I was in the Congress, and we think it gets better and better every year. Beaver Creek is just a tremendous addition to the Vail Valley, so we like it winter or summer.
Realistically speaking, you figure in the spring you have a beautiful panorama of the mountain kind of waking up from snow and it all melting, and then in the summer the runoff occurs and everything greens up and you've got the wildflowers, and then in the fall, I mean, everybody knows that the display of the aspens is unparalleled. And so not only do you have probably 200 or 300 days a year that you can ride, but the same ride is different every time. I mean, it might be a wildflower ride one time and come back in 2 months and you'll have the aspens turning gold. So, I mean, it's a continually changing deal. Very unlimited in terms of the amount of time you can enjoy mountain biking.
Local pride and care about nature here is very evident. After all, some of the rarest plants and wild flowers are to be found in the Colorado hills and mountains. In fact, one should note many of the flora is carefully protected, and picking wild flowers, as you've heard, may mean heavy fines and other penalties. The advice is look, but do not touch unless you know it's allowed.
So that there will be tens of thousands of seeds produced, and this plant will die. This is the last year of its existence.
There are special tours to national parks dotted around the state, most accompanied by knowledgeable guides who will spend time introducing in great detail the different unique flora to visitors.
This is a beautiful place. It changes daily. From the time we come in here with the snow just melting out and then time we leave late in the summer when the snow is starting again, we're seeing a constant change in the vegetation and in the flowers. What we see here today will be gone next week. Something else will be here. And new flowers, new plants. It's a beautiful place.
Tours to an impressive variety of Colorado attractions are easily available to everyone. Check with the Colorado Board of Tourism for details and special events happening during your stay. Getting out to historic towns, discovering some of the original last century developments is fun too. Though these structures are barely 100 years old, in terms of modern Colorado, they represent the roots of modern days. Some of the best examples of Victorian architecture are to be found in Colorado. They were often relatively ornate and flamboyant in style. When the Hotel Jerome opened, it boasted an elevator operated by a series of hand-pulled ropes. It still stands as the focal point of Aspen.
This trip will take a round-trip time today of just about 3 hours, 10 minutes. My name is Tom. I'll be your conductor today. Your engineer up front.
Short of flying above the mountaintops, a trip by Pikes Peak Cog Railway climbing to over 14,000 feet is not only spectacular, but is also a fun way of getting to the top of the world round here.
We're going to start up son of a gun hill. The early firemen would look forward to come around the corner, see how steep it is getting. In the daytime, freezes every night of the year above timberline. Breaks those rocks into smaller and smaller chunks. When we get up here above timberline, there will be a layer of ice called permafrost underneath us. Never thought. In Cripple Creek, gold mining region.
You could decide to climb to the top and become a 14er. You may even spot a bighorn sheep, Colorado's state animal. But don't attempt to climb without proper equipment and training. You'll certainly need a sweater to keep warm up here. Allow the best part of a day for this trip with a stop at the top for some great photographic opportunities. You'll be able to see Colorado Springs and the Great Plains, and even Denver towards the north. Near to Colorado Springs, you'll find the Garden of the Gods, where beautiful red sandstone pinnacles tower over 300 feet high. An abundance of plant and animal life can be found among its 1,350 acres, and it's open every day of the year, a photographer's dream. Visiting the Royal Gorge with the highest suspension bridge in the world is an experience in itself. Spanning the shores of the Arkansas River, the bridge is some 1,053 feet above the fast-flowing rapids. A steep cog-wheeled railway takes you to the bottom for yet another breathtaking experience. There is also an aerial tram ride across this spectacular chasm, and for a small fee, visitors can also walk or drive across the bridge. Far below, the foaming waters are superb fun for the adventurers who do not mind getting wet. A tilt. There are regular rapid rides for just a day or longer. Best times for these adventures are during the high summer months. Contact the Colorado River Outfitters Association in Buena Vista for details on available river rafting tours. Though the river trips are well organized and offer little risk, they're not recommended for the faint-hearted. Most of these wild and rugged canyons are virtually inaccessible by car, and the only way to explore this scenic wilderness is by raft.
I found that it's tremendous to be able to take a group of people out on a river trip, whether it's a half-day or a 6-day trip, be able to share some of these experiences with them, whether the wilderness experience or the wild river experience, or just the group dynamics of getting to know people as they start to drop those barriers just about the time you shove off from shore. And I think that's invaluable.
A more tranquil sport is fishing in the many lakes and rivers of Colorado. Trout, pike, and other fish, some sizable catches can be made. Beware though, a license is required to fish here.
I've been fishing here in Colorado for about the last 20 years, and one of the things that is really unique about fly fishing in Colorado is the Gunnison River here. This is a gold medal trout stream. It's got more trout per unit of measurement than most any other trout stream in America, and it's a fantastic fishery.
Let's take a look at it.
Colorado is a holiday venue for those who prefer to be active, not merely laze on a beach, sipping afternoon cocktails, carefully cultivating that tan. The rewards, too, are different. Here, a glimpse of a rare mountain creature brings delights to those catching a fleeting glance of a furry friend or a mini prehistoric lizard. In the far northwest of the state, on the border with Utah, you'll find the site where the majority of Americans' finest dinosaur fossil remains have been unearthed. Dinosaur National Monument has remnants of 14 species of dinosaur found in the area on display. Also on display are some not quite so old exhibits which are sure to prove popular with the children, but it's a fascinating day out for adults as well. Another great favourite with children is Denver's Zoo. Set in 76 acres of the city park, it has over 1,700 exotic animals on display, all in barless enclosures. It's one of the world's most modern zoos, and the animals can be seen in, as near as possible, their natural habitats. Its latest attraction is an underwater viewing area, which cannot fail to excite visitors. Another of Denver's many attractions is the Natural History Museum. Apart from its famed dinosaur collection, a planetarium and a giant 4-story IMAX theatre are also in the complex.
He's gone.
The American Indian Hall will give you a glimpse of Colorado's more recent history. But if that is still not enough, make one more trip out into the wilderness to a mountain top. And just listen.
Colorado, my home, sweet home. A sky full of Rockies for my roof up there, a great golden meadow for my rocking chair, a claim and a cabin and some breathing air. Colorado, my home, and here till the judgment I will stay, here till the Ponderosa walks away, here where I'm proudest when I hear me say, Colorado, my home, Colorado, rattle, 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 my home.
Try one side, folks. Give it a try. Give it a try.
Belgians are just as cricket crazy as the British. The Kensington Oval in Bridgetown is the mecca for test matches, as well as visiting club sides from Britain. There are British-style telephones and 13-amp sockets in the hotels, even British pubs selling genuine British bitter, as well as the locally brewed Bass beer.
Very refreshing. Quincy on toast.
Barbados has the Atlantic Ocean beating against its northern and eastern coasts, while the west and south shores are sheltered. Light breezes from the cooling trade winds reduce the humidity and give Barbados an ideal subtropical climate.
You put the oil on the skin, you're going to find it burn in the skin. But the aloe vera is going to be cool as ice and twice as nice. Nothing whatsoever work like it. 100.
Try some aloe vera from the doctor on the beach, or take plenty of suntan cream with you. The average year-round temperatures here are in the 80s. Barbados tends to be sunnier and drier than many of its Caribbean neighbours, and has probably the best climate for year-round holidays. Barbados is the most easterly of the Windward group of islands. It's comparatively small, only 21 miles by 14. It's an 8-hour flight from the UK. Its international airport is on the south side, less than half an hour's drive from Bridgetown, the island's capital, and up to an hour from popular hotels on the west coast. Barbados is part of the Commonwealth, so Britons do not require a visa to enter the country, though a full British passport is needed. Tourism is the main industry these days, and its growth is closely monitored by the government. Whilst the main tourist areas are certainly commercialised, they're not at all unsightly, and the buildings are generally low-rise, harmonising well with their surroundings. Not surprisingly, Barbados is popular with the British, who make up about 30% of its visitors. It's also one of the most sophisticated and efficiently run of the Caribbean islands, with entertainment available all round the clock.
Celebrate our anniversary. And with me, you have me so pleased and
Barbados is a popular honeymoon destination, and like many Caribbean islands, you can also get married here, and the marriage is legal under British law.
To love and to cherish in sickness and in health, from this day forward until death do you part.
I do.
Regulations about how long you must be resident on the island vary in different countries. Here in Barbados, you only need 2 days before the ceremony can take place.
Congratulations. Wish you all the best by now.
Barbados is undoubtedly for romantics, but major UK tour operators now run charter flights with package prices that make a holiday in paradise affordable for an ever-growing market. The original inhabitants were Indians of South American origin, notably the ferocious Carib tribe, after whom the Caribbean area as a whole was named. Whilst other Caribbean islands were being colonized by European powers in the 1500s, it wasn't until 1625 that a British expedition, led by one Captain Powell, decided that Barbados would be a good place to grow tobacco. Soon after, a colony was set up around what today is a popular tourist area, Hole Town on the west coast. Many English settlers arrived, establishing the tobacco, cotton and sugar growing industries, so that Barbados was effectively ruled by the rich plantation owners who were members of a British-style parliament headquartered in Bridgetown. As Caribbean towns go, Bridgetown is one of the cleanest and most pleasant. About 40% of the island's population lives in Bridgetown and its suburbs. At the heart of Bridgetown is the harbour area, the Carenage, from where boat trips depart every day, and along the harbour side are some popular bars and restaurants. This compact town dates back to the 17th century, and you'll find shops and air-conditioned department stores within easy walking distance of each other. Banks in Bridgetown and most of the resorts are open between 9 and 3 from Monday to Thursday until 1 on Fridays. The currency is the Barbados dollar, tied to the US dollar at an exchange rate of about 4 to 1. To take advantage of duty-free shopping, you need to produce your travel documents, and most goods will be delivered to the airport for collection when you leave the island. Also in Bridgetown, there's a handicraft centre with numerous gift shops selling locally made items, many of which you'll also find being sold on the beach.
Traveller, and they're all flexible because it could be forward, so you can pack it.
Barbados is a lush, well-cultivated but quite flat island with only a few gently rolling hills to the north. Its limestone and coral structure acts as a natural filter for rainwater, and the tap water is as pure as you'll find anywhere. Perfectly safe to drink. There's a good modern road system and a reliable network of public transport which connects all the main tourist areas with Bridgetown. By checking the timetable, this can be an excellent and economic way of touring the whole island. Taxis are also readily available with reasonable fares that are government controlled. All licensed taxis are clearly marked with a Z on the registration plate. Cycle, scooter and car hire are all popular options, but if you do plan to hire a car, you'll have to show your British or international driving licence and pay a small registration fee for a Barbados driving permit, usually done at the local police station. Driving, as in Britain, is on the left, but speed limits are considerably lower than at home, 37 miles per hour in the countryside and 21 in the towns. A small four-seater car will cost you about £140 for a week's hire and will give you the freedom to get out and about beyond your chosen resort. For dramatic scenery, head towards Bathsheba on the north coast. This part of the island is undeveloped, quite wild, with ruggedly beautiful cliffs pounded by the Atlantic rollers. Since there are no organised coach tours, visitors usually hire their own transport, or take buses or taxis when they want to explore the island's varied landscape and see the little villages. Taxi drivers often act as official tourist guides and might suggest a visit to a working sugar plantation or even Andromeda Gardens. The array of exotic plants grown along terraced gardens makes this the prettiest area of the parish of St. Joseph. Another popular sightseeing spot is Harrison's Cave, an eerie subterranean wonderworld of caverns, waterfalls and lakes through which you ride on a specially designed train. Harrison's Cave is considered to be one of the most beautiful caves in the world. It has possibly one of the best collections of stalactite and stalagmite varieties anywhere, together with various streams and waterfalls. The cave was first discovered in 1795 by an English doctor and rediscovered as recently as 1970.
Harrison's Cave was named after Mr. Thomas Harrison, founder of Harrison's College, who once owned the land on which the natural entrance of the cave is situated. When this tour is entered, you would have traveled a distance of 1 mile. The temperature of the cave is 78 degrees.
Another excursion, which is the experience of a lifetime, is a unique underwater trip in the world's first recreational submarine, Atlantis. Daily or nightly journeys down to depths of 100 feet give everyone a chance to experience the crystal clear Caribbean waters in absolute safety. To help identify the flora and the fauna, the Atlantis has information cards in each porthole. You'll pass coral reefs, undersea valleys, and a variety of sea life. You'll really feel you can reach out and touch the fish. For those who enjoy water sports, Barbados has a lot to offer. Visitors tend to flock to hotels like the Hilton or Cunard Paradise Beach, where the water sports facilities are excellent. Windsurfing is a thriving sport as the weather conditions here in Barbados are excellent for both novices and pros. Experienced surfers will find a challenge on the big waves along the east coast. Beginners can practice in the gentler waters of the west coast, where it's provided by several hotels and water sports centres, along with supervised sailing, water skiing and parasailing. Scuba diving is also available with full instruction at centres around the west and south coasts, conveniently close to hotels.
Press this button and it deflates. Okay? As soon as you reach the surface, you press your button here. Alright?
The thrills of diving around the natural offshore coral reefs have been enhanced by 3 sunken wrecks. And there's always the exciting, if not very realistic, prospect of finding hidden treasure. The beaches surrounding Barbados are of soft, pale sand, from the purest white to shades of coral pink. Arguably, the most picturesque beach of all is Grove Beach, remotely placed on the southeast coast. On sands like this, many Bajans get their first taste of the island's national sport. You can watch a good game of cricket almost any time, whether it's an international test match at the Kensington Oval, usually played between January and April, or a friendly match played on the equivalent of an English village green. Many British county sides come out here, batting it out against the local teams, and the end of match conviviality is made all the warmer by a drop or two of hooch, and the chance to mingle with the cricketing greats who gather in Barbados for international test matches.
But these are what cricket is about, what it's all about.
For those who enjoy sports, Barbados hotels have a lot to offer. There are 3 golf courses on the island, 9-hole ones at the Rockley Resort Hotel and Haywards Hotel, and at the exclusive Sandy Lane Hotel, there's a fine 18-hole course. Squash and tennis are available at several of the larger hotels and at public courts. Horse riding, too, is easily organised through the hotel's activity programmes. There are several stables where riding instructions are included in the hourly rate.
As you get to slow down, you just keep back on the reins. Do the stirrups feel okay?
Trail riding through sugarcane fields will take you past historical plantation houses, allowing you time to enjoy this fascinating interior at first hand. Barbados has over 150 hotels and self-catering complexes. Many of the larger and more luxurious properties are strung out on the Caribbean side along the well-developed west coast near Hull Town and Speightstown. Other, more reasonably priced hotels can be found on the south side, closer to Bridgetown, and along the wilder east coast there are only a few selected hotels, like the serene and elegant Crane Beach Hotel, set high on top of steep rocks overlooking the Atlantic. Further along this coast is a 4-star resort hotel, Sam Lord's Castle, which, due to its history, is also a popular tourist attraction.
Sam Lord's Castle, thank you for calling.
This is one of the finest remaining examples of a Caribbean great house. The stone-walled mansion, which now forms the hotel's reception area, was built in the 1820s by Sam Lord, a wealthy but disreputable character who made his fortune by luring ships onto the coral reefs.
You are aware, Sam Lord was infamous for being a pirate. But he was a pirate in a non-traditional sense in that he didn't wear an eye patch and have a peg leg and all that kind of thing. He liked the finer things of life.
Even though Sam Lord's is an historic building, it still has all the usual facilities of a high-grade hotel. 10 of the guest rooms are in the castle itself and richly furnished. The rest of the suites, rooms and cottages are spread out amongst the grounds. Poolside bars, indoor activity centres, shops and a bank all add up to a modern self-contained resort well suited for this part of the island and overlooking the coral reef that made Sam Lord so infamous. Set on mile after mile of pure white sandy beaches are a strip of holiday hotels on the west coast. The recently and expensively refurbished Paradise Beach Club is ideal for active and younger visitors who enjoy a touch of luxury too. The hotel is very close to Bridgetown for shopping or night clubbing. Just a few minutes further north is the smaller but more clubby Buccaneer Bay Hotel that caters for mostly British visitors, many of whom seem to return like migrating birds to enjoy the lovely intimate surroundings, the beach and the poolside gin and tonics. Next door, along the same fine sandy beach, is the small 50-roomed Coconut Creek with a village-like atmosphere. Rooms overlook the Caribbean seas and the intimate pool, where even in high season it's difficult to find crowds. A definitely family-orientated hotel close to Hometown is Settlers Beach. Set among palm trees, the cottages are spacious and well-designed. The cuisine here is renowned. Cobbler's Cove is best suited for total relaxation. Further north than most other hotels on the west coast, it's popular with honeymooners. Poolside dining, or even a penthouse play pool. Everything is available for the pampered and selective visitor. Much less expensive accommodation is found on the south coast around Worthing, Hastings, St. Lawrence and Maxwell. If you want a secluded beach away from the crowds, just hop on a bus or in your hire car, because they're easy to find.
Golden sun on my magic isle, and the water's blue like it's new here for you on my magic isle, where the folks are kind, leave it all behind. Come spend the day, life is gay, so stay on my magic isle, where the warm winds blow on my magic isle. You can be quite sure that it's pure, it's a cure from the clear blue sky. Fills your heart with joy and makes a man a boy. Come to Benjamin, walk on silver sand on my magic isle. There's a special bay far away on the deep blue Atlantic shore, where the sea meets the sky, and you're there, you and I. Where on earth would you ask for more? There's a silver moon on my magic isle, and a special place. There's a place to embrace on my magic isle. Make a final plan. Let me take your hand and make a dream come true. It's right here for you on my magic isle. And make a dream come true. It's right here for you on my magic isle.
Barbados is rich in entertainment, with live music and floor shows in most of the large hotels. Some of the hotels have their own nightclubs and discos, while more can be found in Bridgetown and the main resort areas. Wherever you go, a calypso singer or steel band are never far away. It's in the hotels that you find some of the island's most famous restaurants, and it's not uncommon for visitors to dine around during their stay. If you're on the southeast coast, try the shipwreck party on the beach at Sam Lord's Castle. Despite casual and beachwear being the norm, many visitors choose to dress up for dinner, and it's more or less expected at the smarter hotels, some of which have the atmosphere of a private club. There's a good choice of eating places outside the hotels too, from high-class and expensive restaurants to fast food snack bars and pizzerias.
Need 3 cheeseburgers, 2 hot dogs, and 3 fries, please.
Lunchtimes are more often than not spent on the beach, where there are plenty of informal bars and restaurants run by the hotels and by independent entrepreneurs. As a side product of the sugar industry, rum has long been the island's cheapest and most abundant tipple, though a fancy rum cocktail will cost you about £1.50.
Oh, you need
For a fraction of the usual price, you can get a bottle at the local rum shop. You'll meet the locals who seem determined to finish even the last drop. Heady rum punches are on the menu of one of the island's most popular excursions, a lunch cruise aboard the Jolly Roger, where the price includes everything from rope swinging to yet more rum punches. Hardly any visitor misses this popular but very noisy affair. You can go swimming or snorkeling from the boat, or to cap it all, find a new partner in a ritual pirate wedding ceremony.
With this ring, which I shall purchase from the duty-free shop, which I shall... which I shall purchase from the duty-free shop, I be back. I be back. And with all of my physical goodies, I be
Enjoyment is what a holiday in Barbados is all about. You come here to find your own way of relaxing and having fun in reliably constant sunshine.
Come back to my island, Barbados. Come back to my island and me. Please come back where the night winds are blowing. Please come back to the surf and the sea. You'll find rest, you'll find peace in Barbados. Come back to my island and me.
Dial home using IDD. Driving is on the left. A full British or international driving licence is required, as well as a Barbados driving permit available from the Ministry of Transport. A frequent and comprehensive bus service is cheap, but very crowded at rush hours. Taxis have standard rates listed at the tourist office. Check in the Barbados News for information on the wide variety of activities, interesting events, and the nightlife. Protestant Christian is the majority religion. Cricket is a national obsession. There are 3 golf courses and most water sports, including diving, are available. Poisonous centipedes are rare. Sea urchin spines should be left to dissolve naturally unless easily pulled out. Manchineel apples can be poisonous if eaten. There are many excursions which can be booked at the tours desks at most hotels. They include a round-the-island tour giving a general overview of the island. An array of exotic plants can be seen at the Andromeda Gardens. Take a Jolly Roger cruise on the high seas or an air trip to one of the nearby islands like Martinique. Many of the following tour operators will make getting married on the island simplicity itself. You'll both need to take original birth certificates. Residency on the island for 6 working days is required prior to the ceremony. Divorcees will need to show a copy of the decree absolute, and the widowed will need a copy of the death certificate. Evidence of consent will be required for those under 18. Here is a selection of the many tour operators vying to take you to Barbados. Tour operators can arrange accommodation in any of the following selection of hotels covering a range of prices and standards. Bookings can also be made through individual UK representatives.
I'm going to pull this.